Hello, hello. How,
Hi.
how are you?
Not bad, you?
Good, good. Trying to recuperate from a very productive weekend.
I didn't do much this weekend. I
Well,
spent the
you did
whole
a lot. You did a lot this week.
yeah. Well, I spent the week there hunting. So
So,
and
you have to
then
catch
we
back. Going back to
yeah
work tomorrow.
yeah. I'm going back to work tomorrow. I don't want to. I wish I could stay home.
Ah, you can't hunt and then hunt forever. You have to go back to work.
I know, but it lasts for 4 weeks here. I want to be there for the whole 4 weeks.
True, true. Who's here? Say hi. I see about 5 people here.
Well, I'm
Uh,
there.
uh, on your okay. So there's 4 people here. Say hi. Um, Maybe too shy, but hello. I hope you have had a fantastic week. For myself, this week I've been back at pressure canning in canning. I did spaghetti sauce with meat. I started doing my apples. Transplanted all my garlic. I have officially 429 little cloves
Nice.
planted. What else did I do? I started raking all the leaves in every garden bed that's planted with the garden is now covered with the leaves. And I'm probably going to go pick up some compost next week and cover the rest of the garden with compost. And then we have like this humongous pile of leaves that the kids saw and want to play with, and we're like, you can't. It's going in the garden. So we're gonna lay compost in leaves, hoping that when it thaws out, most of the weeds will die under it. And I do have a tarp. I'm going to try to put it on top of all of that. So I'm going to have a layer in compost. Well, sorry, whatever's left in the garden. So there's produce, weeds, lots of them. Then compost and then leaves, and I'm going to put a tarp over it. So I'm going to hope that all of that will help manage some of the weed pressure and add more compost to my soil. Okay, so if I get this right, when it's a duck, it's Jack.
That's what
That's
I
right?
think. That's
Okay.
what I think. Yep.
Raccoon is Lindsay, right?
Yep.
Okay, so hi, Jack.
I'm guessing
Uh,
Lindsay's not far behind.
Usually she's not far behind, but he did say hi there with the duck. I figure it's him. What did you do other than hunting?
Nothing else.
Nothing else?
Well, we
So
cooked. I cooked. I had some carrots for the first time. Some pressure can carrots that I canned myself for the first
you
time.
you brought it with you down there?
Yeah, I had salsa, beans, and carrots. And I was told by I think it was Marilyn that told me before I started canning like the whole batch that I should try it before I keep going because she said you might not even like it.
She's
And
right.
it kind of defines like the point of canning everything if you have to open it and eat it right now, right? So I figured I was gonna wait, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
not fussy on the food. If I like carrots, I like carrots. No matter how it's cooked, I'm gonna eat it.
I find that the green beans cold salads is the ideal. I haven't tried warming them up to see, like to eat with a piece of meat. For now, I'm just opening the can as is temperature. It's at room temperature, and I do the same thing with beets. I do beets, corn, and beans, and then I just do like a cold salad dressing, and I eat it as is. Maybe I will not enjoy them reheated. I was told it was like too mush.
Mm, I liked it.
I haven't tasted it yet, so I started with cold salads, and definitely next year I'm gonna have to maybe double or maybe triple the quantity of beans that I've pressure can. Carrots, I find that they're so versatile. Like you can just mash them up with potatoes, or you can just eat them as is, or just throw them in the stew. So it's fun. It's fun to have. Hello, Marilyn. We're
Hello.
having a moose roast, fiddleheads, mashed potatoes, and béarnaise sauce tonight. Wow. That's
I
an
hope
epic meal. That's an epic meal. The fact that the moose roast probably comes from your first trip. Is that it?
the yep
The
well, most that I brought him, yeah,
Okay,
from the
so
one.
the fiddleheads is probably something they harvested themselves. Mashed potatoes, I don't know where it comes from. That's a nice meal. Uh, hello, Dave. What's with the
Maybe
eight?
8 ball.
8 ball. High 8 ball? I don't know. Is there a cue that I missed somewhere? Okay, so that means you brought with you your canned goods, and it was your first time bringing as much food that you canned or preserved.
Yeah, it's kind of starting to look like a, well, not a pantry because I don't have much cans right now, but with the 3 freezers full, 2 fridge, it's kind of looking good for at least for the winter.
How does it feel? Like you take this happened to me this week. So when I did my salad and I did all my meal, I opened like 4 or 5 jars of food that I can, and then obviously salt, pepper, herbs. I will never be able to have all of that. But like I opened a jar of meatballs, and then the liquid that was inside, I did like this brown sauce with it. And then we had fries with it, and I made a salad from my green beans, my beets, and corn. And I was opening all those jars. It feels so good. Like this is the first year that it's this much. So I can only imagine how you feel being it your first year.
Well, to be honest, I think that I'd say 80% of the food we eat, I'm not talking about snacks, forget about snacks, but 80% of what we eat comes from the homestead, or like either fishing, hunting, foraging, the animals I had, or the garden.
That's amazing. On like your second year? No, third year.
It's my third year being like full on, but I mean, I've always been hunting, always been fishing. I've always tried to grow a garden. Just didn't work until like 2 years ago when everything
And
started 2 years ago. It gave me time to go and learn as much as I could, and that's it. That's why I'm proud of what I was able to do in such a little time. Like I hope that I can inspire people to just start, go and get it going. Because if I was able
well,
to do it in such a small time,
not
anyone
to
can.
go down the rabbit hole of everything going on and how we are getting dot 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 when we go grocery shopping. I think, I hope that people will start gardening more and more, even if it's just one tomato plant, one pepper plant, like 4 green bean plants, so that it can be self sufficient all summer long and bring down the cost of the grocery bill. I do hope that it inspires people to do that next year. Okay, so I'm guessing this comes from Jack. Grew potatoes ourselves too, was just out trying to get a deer. And it's always nice to come in from the cold with a big hunk of roast meat and potatoes. So
Nice.
he's entitled to hunt on his land.
Yep, that's where we got our deer.
Okay, let's just say that in your backyard, in at your house, you have wild animals and it's in season and you have a tag. Can you hunt it?
You have to be a certain distance from the house. But yeah, I mean, he's got 64 acres. I think he has most of the land. He's free to hunt.
Okay, so you can't do it, but if you have like a lot of acreage, you could do it.
Yeah, like here in my place, I can because there's houses everywhere, every direction, and there's a field of strawberry field back there, and probably some people working on there the whole time. So I can't do that here. But my dad has land, and he can go on his land and hunt as much as he wants.
Hmm. What
As long
about
as there's
your
a house.
spot where your chickens are?
I'd say, judging by where the closest houses are, like from the top of the hill to the bottom of the hill, you wouldn't be able to hunt. But after that, you're far enough, you'd be good. If you
Hmm.
went way past like the Beaver Dam, Sales could hunt all he wants.
Hmm.
I think it's like 400 meters from a house or something like that.
Yeah, but who has a measuring tape like to calculate?
Well, we don't, but honestly, people that go hunting in the wilds, now there's so much gadget you can bring. Like we have
True,
a
true.
GPS, and it's telling us exactly how far you are in the woods, how long until you get back to your truck, by the speed you're going, and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, I
it's
remember Garmin has like this super high tech um GPS. We used to own one like many years back.
yeah, I
Uh
have one.
some of one of the thing we lost in our move, we still can't hasn't haven't found it. We don't know where it is. But it was a fun gadget. Like we would go out on the mountains and we would be able to trace where we've been, but it's been like 15, no, maybe 10 years. Yeah, it's probably been 10 years. So there are probably newer gadgets out there for you guys.
Well, depending on where you go, like I have my cell phone with me when I go deer hunting, especially when I was on Jack's property, because in the area where he is, you have signal, Wi-Fi signal everywhere. So I use the application called Map My Run, and the application was designed for people that want to go for a jog or something like that. You can measure how long it takes you to get to point A to point B, and tells you, okay, you did 5 minute, 5 kilometers in 30 minutes, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it does the same thing and it shows you exactly where you've been, even if you go for a walk. So I put the app on, start my kind of workout, and I just go in the woods wherever I want to go, walk around, and then I can just look and say, oh, okay, look, I followed the road, but ended up doing a circle and closer to where I started than if I go all the way back. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Mm-hmm.
you follow the brooks, the rivers, and all that, and then you
Oh,
get with your cell phone.
no, probably not. One, I don't have a license. We don't have access to anything near here. And let's just say I did. Let's just say that I was able to have everything I needed. Friends, I wouldn't have a babysitter for my three kids.
Details. That's the smallest detail.
No, it's a big detail for myself. It was a miracle I was able to find someone for a couple of hours for us to actually go out on our wedding anniversary. So, an entire week of me being away from the house with my husband. I don't know. And like, who would take care of school for them? Like, who would do their homework?
Well, like I keep telling you, they're young. They're gonna grow up. You start
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
around now. Get your course. Get your license. Get all the stuff you need. In 5, 6, 7 years, maybe. Who knows? You might be able to start.
Next year, I'm gonna say it could, but not probable. But once my youngest is in like second grade and a little bit more independent, we'll see. But I'm not very fond of firearms. I've used it once or twice. Not because of what it represents, but I got the aftershock on my shoulder and it hurts like
One.
huh?
You can always start with grouse. Just go grouse hunting and do it as a family.
Yeah,
Go
but
for
my husband has the bow. Not the bow, the
crossbow.
yeah, the crossbow. So maybe that would be something more appealing for me. And I heard that you can go first if you're crossbow instead of firearm. I'm not sure if that's true.
I don't know the rules in Quebec. I know here in New
Oh
Brunswick that
God, they're
is.
so complicated. So I'm gonna have to figure that out if ever I go. Yes, there is a GPS on your phone, but I'm not sure if you still have access to it if you're out of
The tower. Yeah.
if you're not near a tower. I don't know if that works. No, I'm not making excuses. Let's just say with 3 kids, I'm kind of getting the feeling that no one wants to take care of them. So I stopped asking a while back for babysitting, but they are getting older, so it is going to get a little easier. And I don't know if I'm going to enjoy hunting. That's probably another thing. Like I know I'm going to enjoy the outdoors, but my experience with hunting was I was the bait. So I had the thing you put on the shirt and I was walking around and like just I've never really took the responsibility of actually hunting. You can go deer hunting on the weekends. Yeah, but still, I would need someone to check for my kids.
Well, you can
Uh,
go on Saturday, and your husband can go on Sundays. Problem
uh
fixed.
yeah, true, true, true.
When there's a
My
whale,
hu-
there's a way.
yeah, true. My husband uses a Visa map on his phone.
Events on map.
I don't know what that is.
I'll look
Tools,
it up.
tools. It's like we're finding new things every week. Okay, being sidetracked now. Now that is your season. Oh, I agree with Remi. Okay, so you're being on my case now. Backcountry navigator, download a map of the area, then no cell or Wi-Fi connection needed. Okay. So now officially your Shedwar season is finished, correct?
Yes.
It finished
Getting
on
ready for next year.
October 26th.
26, but it was kind of done for me on Sunday morning on the 23rd because I was leaving for a week. And I told John and Robert that the number I gave was the final number, unless the kids would go and pick up the eggs. I would have maybe like an extra pound of eggs. But I was gone for the whole week, and I went today to harvest the eggs, and I only had 25 eggs for like 3 pounds. So
Okay.
I'm saying for like the first 2 3 days, it would only have been like an extra pound, regardless.
And what about the meat that you were able to harvest? Were you
Um,
able to add it?
I asked a question to Robert. He seemed open to it because the question was, since it's ending on the 26th, if I go deer hunting on the 24th, 25th, and 26th, and I harvest a deer, can it still count because it was harvested before the deadline, even though I'm only going to get like the official number on maybe Saturday or Sunday because you bring it to the butcher, they're going to weigh it out and then give you your meat a few days later. Um, Robert seemed to think it was okay, um, but he wasn't so sure about how to deal with it. So I just told him like, don't worry about it. Like, it doesn't
Can
matter.
you
I'm
can
gonna
you
eat
add
it anyway. Like,
can you add it next year?
yeah, that's what I understand. Since it was not in the count for this year, everything I harvest from now until next year is gonna go towards next year if I go in Shedwars again, which I hope I can do it again. It was fun. It pushed me way past the limits I thought I had. Um,
You still have to do the application.
yeah, I still had to do the introduction video, but I made some good friends. I met some amazing people. I tried to follow everyone. It's just that in the summer it's so hard to follow everyone, but I'm gonna catch up at some point in the winter. Just a
So
few snowstorms, and I'm gonna stay stuck inside watching YouTubes.
obviously colder months are coming. So Shed Wars, if you're new to the channel, if you've never heard about Shed Wars, it's basically a fun challenge between two teams, and they just weigh out everything that they harvest, either by foraging, hunting, and gardening, and it starts in
I think the official start date was on the 20th of March,
and it ends
on
ma-
26th of
mid-end October. So
yeah.
everything that comes out of their land, harvested in the wild, either if it's mushrooms or apples or any berries or meat, they weigh it out, and at the end of the season, the team that has the most poundage wins. I still don't know what you guys win. I know there's a prize.
I don't think there's anything really.
No,
I
you
from
did
what
mention a prize.
from what I understand, Jotham is here. Maybe he can correct me if I'm wrong. He's been in Shedwars for longer than I have. I think they're trying to get sponsors as the event grows. You know, maybe some sponsors from all over the world will be interested in joining. They have a little tiny bit of money. From what I understand, they might have maybe like $400 or something like that that they got from sponsors here and there. And what they do is, let's say that if my team wins, there might be 20 people on our team still like active because there was like 62 participants at first, but I know some people fall off at some point. They just stop making videos, they quit, they end up not having the minimum requirements or something like that. And then there might end up being only like 15 and 20 on each team.
So
They
you said
take
there were
that
62 participants
at
at the
first. I think that's the number for this year. Yeah. That's the amount of
and
people that
that's
were
divided in two.
divided into. So there would have been around 30, 31 people on each team. And they take the amount of money that there's left at the end of the season to the winning team, and they'll say, okay, well, it's I don't know, $12 each. So you go and they'll give you like a $12 gift card or $12 package of seeds from a place near you, right? Because you can't ship them over to other countries anyway. Most of the time, the seeds. That's what I understand. I have no idea, and honestly, I don't really mind what I win. Like even if I don't get anything at all, just to be part of this amazing community to me was just amazing. Uh, I already
Are the
feel.
numbers out of the two teams or not yet?
I asked Robert if he had any dates in mind to do like the official um,
Like,
giveaway, not a giveaway, but like give the information away, and he doesn't have anything yet. They're still sorting all the things out. Apparently, there's only a few people that came out with the official numbers. Not all of them did.
okay.
So I have no idea how many pounds each people got.
Okay. Well, obviously it's going to come out eventually.
Yeah, it will. They're probably going to do a live stream announcing the winners and teams. Um, I know. I think last year it was only John Will It Grow. His team won, and I think it was only by a few £100. And when you consider that you're 30 something people on each team, a few £100 is not that much. I could get and I could have got a moose, a bigger moose, and it could have, balanced the other way. So I don't know if I get a black bear in the spring, can make my team win, or if I
True.
don't, like it's just tiny details like that sometimes. You
Well,
have a
if
good
you're, let's
harvest
just say
of,
that there's 10 active participant per team, and each of them on the last day decide they're going to go foraging for wild apples, and they each bring back 2 pounds, well, that's 20 pounds more. That makes a difference.
yeah, exactly.
Annie, don't do this to me. um, I don't know. Uh, Me doing that would mean a lots of work.
Well, you're already doing it,
No,
basically.
I'm not saying I
Well,
don't
wait,
weigh everything.
that's the only difference.
Yeah, I have like a lot of things comes out of the garden. That's not the problem. It's just I don't know how to organize myself enough to do it. That's probably
Um, I can send you my Excel document.
yeah. I don't know. I know that Robert. It's Robert, right?
Yep.
Robert said he would love to have me on his team, but I'm still on the side on this one. And you wanted to do it this year for fun.
Well, you can do it. You're just gonna have to start doing a little bit more videos. That's all, because you have to do 12. You have to do the first video you make is your introduction video, where you try to sell yourself as a member of any team. And then once you get drafted, if you get drafted, you have to make 12 videos during the season where you actually teach something to people
Well, that's what I do
on a regular basis.
on a
Exactly.
regular basis.
You
So,
just have to follow the rules to know what tags and
mhm.
hashtags and titles and stuff like that you need. But that's it.
Marilyn says, "Well, tiny. I don't call a moose or a bear tiny."
No, but I mean, you get about 100, 150 pound of meat. Depending, like on a moose, you can get more than that. But I mean, you go hunt as a group, this could be your share. You know what I mean? I ended up with 100 pound of moose meat, close to 115, I think, with like the heart and tenderloin and all that stuff. Um, if we were more people, it would have been less. If we were less people, it would have been a bigger share. If I got a black bear, it could have been 150 pound of meat, or maybe just 100. But when you talk about, maybe the difference between the two teams will be 250 pounds. If I get a black bear, it's still not enough to push my
No,
team over. You know what I mean? Like
no.
that's
At least a couple of you have to harvest a bear to
yeah.
make a difference.
And the weight of a bear is just basically you go foraging for wild apples, and you can get the same amount of weight.
Mm. So, how do you feel at the end of your season? Now that it's over, like I know the exhaustion is there. We're all exhausted, but
Yeah.
other than exhaustion, how do you feel?
Well, you said it. I'm exhausted, mentally, physically. I'm drained. The past couple of weeks have been really, really hard on me. For those of you who've been to one of my live streams a couple of weeks ago, you know. Uh, but at the same time, I feel a little bit more like accomplished as a person. I feel like what I was able to do, to see, to have the actual numbers. It's not just to do, when you start doing it just like on a regular basis without weighing the stuff like you do. For example, you can see, okay, well, I have, because you do great on that end. You have 52 mason jars of pizza sauce that you
Now you know.
made from your stuff. And you have, I don't know, maybe like 30 apple pies, for example. Those are desserts, meals, snacks, whatever. You know by the amount of meals you have. But when you start counting, and I went a little bit further by adding all the cost per pound of each of the items that I harvested. So I ended up with the amount of pounds I had, and I was able to calculate, like I saved about $6,000 worth of food.
But you have to deduct on that the actual seed cost and compost and blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
So obviously, I'm sure that it's not $6,000 of infrastructure, but I'm sure that it's whatever you've saved is over $5,000.
oh yeah, for sure. I mean, even if the only thing that cost a lot was like when you go into the chickens and turkeys and stuff like that. I had to buy the feed for the rabbits, for the chickens. I had to buy the chickens when they're little chicks or even a little bit older. I buy them at 3 weeks. You have to feed them. You have to water them. You have to go and get them, put maybe 10, 15, $20 of gas. But after counting the amount, I hear a little echo. Is it me or is it you? Like I hear.
On my side, there's nothing.
Hmm,
Nothing is open on my side other than just StreamYard.
okay. I kind of hear. Okay. Anyway, um, kind of lost my train of thoughts, but um,
You were talking about the cost.
yeah, uh, I ended up paying about $300 for my chickens with the price of the chicks. When I placed my order, it was a certain amount. The gas, the amount of feed, all that stuff, and if you start counting per pound, the 100 and something pounds of meat that I had, um, it was about $500 worth of meat that it cost me about
Yeah.
$300.
Well, there's
Like,
one thing that we can't count, and it's our time, and that's why it seems so like saving. Uh, but what would we like? This is me, and me and Annie keep saying this all the time. Yeah, but you can go buy it at the store. But what would
it's
we do? What would we do if we weren't homesteaders? Like this is my job. This is my full-time job for me. So if I wouldn't do this, I would be in a cubicle or working God knows where. And I would just go to the store and buy organic or have butcher's block deliver at my house. But like you can't count your time.
you can't count your time, but then again, maybe you can, depending on the lifestyle you had before. For example, this year, I used to play softball. I would have a softball tournament pretty much every weekend or every second weekend. You go out, you buy a few beers, you buy a snack, you buy a lunch. You might have to sleep there. You might have to eat supper. It would cost me $152 a weekend to play softball. This summer, I did not do that. First of all, I could not afford it. Second of all, I didn't have time. I
Obviously.
was focused on the homestead. So, yeah, maybe I could have been doing like a job. Maybe my time, you can't really count the time. But then again, I didn't use the money I had on something else because my hobby, my activity, the activities I was doing was all about bringing the food in my house.
True.
So I still ended up saving a whole lot more than the $6,000 I was just talking about.
Okay, wait, let me just catch up. Annie, we should at least weigh everything next year just for Okay, okay. Challenge, challenge. That would be a
If you,
humongous step up for me.
if you
Okay,
do that, you might as well do Shedwars.
yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. If you might as well weigh everything and tabulate everything. Okay, so with more gray hair and or less hair. I remember we talked about something. I don't remember what was this for. Oh yeah, we said that you were exhausted and
Yeah,
probably with more gray hair. Keeping track of the weight is the hardest part for Shedwars. We are trying to get as much as we can anyway, and we are already making videos. So,
yeah.
for my part, making the videos, I would if I'm not saying I will, if I do it, I would orient my videos just a little bit differently. But I'm filming anyways, so it's just the wording and the planning that needs to be just a little bit different. But the weighing is what's like keeping me on the side.
I keep my scale on the counter. I have a bowl place on it so that I open my scale, it sets to zero, and then I can just put whatever I want in there, and then I put it away. So if I come in with eggs, I put it in. Okay, 1 point, whatever. I take a picture of my scale and the eggs, and at some point during the day, I'm gonna go downstairs, exactly where I am right now in my document, and put it down. It takes less than 5 minutes a day, really, when you get used to doing your things like
True.
that.
Okay, so I'm guessing Annie's already gone. She says, by the way, you did great. Uh, you could buy it at the store, then you'd be doing something else with your time and probably paying for it.
Like I said, exactly what I
Uh, yeah, but like I don't know if I said this in my last live or in a video. I can't remember. I've been realizing lately, uh, like example, I bought. I used to be a Tupperware lady, so I bought all the Tupperwares for the fridge. They're called Intellifrais. I think it's fresh smart or fresh something. So it keeps your vegetables and your fruits fresh in your not in your freezer, but in your fridge. It keeps them good and crunchy for weeks. And before having Tupperwares, I maybe had a week and a half, tops 2 weeks for certain vegetables. Then when I invested in those Smart Fresh, or I can't remember the name in English, in Tupperware containers, I was able to have some of my vegetables up to 5 to 6 weeks. Now I can barely keep them 3 weeks, regardless what they are. Like, I bought celeries. They were 99 cents each. They were probably old. And I just opened the bin. It's been almost 3 weeks that I have them. I threw out almost 3/4 of a head. Thank God I can do compost pile with them. But they're more expensive. They're less fresh. And even though with those containers, they don't last as long. So it makes me wonder, like, if I would be working, I would have to pay more and have produce that's not necessarily like at its peak of what
Well,
it's supposed to
you're
taste
doing
like.
great. I'm sure the amount of food you bring in is worth your time. Like,
Yeah,
if you had a full time job, you had to pay for daycare for your kids and all that. It would cost you a lot more than what you're doing now.
yeah. Only thing I weighed all year was dogs and that moose roast. 2.4 pounds. That's the roast, I'm guessing.
Nice.
A dollar saved is a dollar earned, and I've really been learning that the last couple of years. Yes, and it's taking that phrase is taking a whole nother signification with what's coming. Hello,
Mm.
city girl. Again, is it Chris? No, it's not Chris. Um, no, it's a name that I had a hard time pronouncing last time. Oh, it's not Chris. I know it's not Chris. Can you correct me, please, city girl? I forgot.
It's
Did
Chris.
it's Chris?
Yes.
I'm Yay! But oh yeah, it's true. It's
Chris, yeah.
Teresa. Okay, so yay! I remembered another one. Okay, so where was I? Good God, this moose is good. Thank you, Remi. Thank you so much. A
It's not me.
dollar, a dollar saved is $2 earned because the government half of what you earn.
True.
um, yes. Okay. So, what, like, an item? Not all of your items. What is the item that weighed the most for you? Like eggs, fish, meat. Is there one particular item that's like highest than
Mm.
the others?
There would be the, the one that I had the most of was squash.
I'm out of
Um,
beer. I'm out of beer. I can't drink. Oh no, wait. There's one sip left.
I'm out of beer too.
Ah.
I have some upstairs. I'll go get one later. Um, I had over 200 pounds of squash.
Is it all preserved?
It's not all in the freezer right now because we have some winter squash that are still on the counter right now, but they preserve that way, so it's all good.
200 pounds of squash.
If I look at all the other stuff I have some pretty decent numbers also with tomatoes. I had 88 pounds of tomatoes and zucchinis. I
Oh,
had
wait,
most.
wait, wait, wait. When you say 200 pounds of squash, that's only winter squash?
No, that's all kind of squash. I had.
Summer squash and, okay, so zucchini and stuff like that.
Well, I don't count the zucchinis in the squash. I have one column just for zucchinis, and I
Okay,
have another column for pumpkins.
what is the difference for you with summer squash and winter squash?
There's none. There's none. There's just squash. As long as
Okay,
it's
because
squash
summer
label.
squash is zucchini, crook's neck,
Yeah,
the ones that are like bushier type.
I
Winter squash is like spaghetti. So
yeah, I know. It's just that when I look at the label, if it says squash, I put it as squash in my document. That's all. I
Okay,
mean,
so you have one for squash, one for zucchini,
and I have one for pumpkins. Yeah,
one for pumpkins. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
You know, I had the moose meat that was over 100 pound. Striped bass, I had over 100 pound of meat. The eggs, 237 pound of eggs.
How much?
237 pounds.
So just under the squash.
Yeah.
But you
Uh,
went down on your flock, so next year.
yes, but what I'll be doing is keeping the chickens that are laying because I have a few ones right now that are slowing down, so they will probably end up in the freezer at some point.
Hmm.
Mm.
Okay, so Chris says, only thing that did well in my garden is tomatoes and banana peppers and chili peppers and my dill. Well, you have to celebrate what works. Keep notes, do it again next year, and then something else next year we'll add to that list. We'll need to pick your brain on how to preserve and eat the striped bass. That's on our list for next year.
The preservation is pretty easy. I skin them and put them in the freezer. I make some fillet, put them in the freezer. Or if you can just freeze them as a whole as well. Sometimes I do that. Just put them as a whole. You lose less meat that way. Just I cut the head, cut the tail, put it in the freezer bag, in the freezer.
When you say you lose meat, is it because there's still meat attached to the skin?
Not necessarily to the skin because the skin is so tough on striped bass that the meat will come right off. But when you do the fillet, there's always going to be some tiny bits and pieces that will stay stuck to the bones. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to go and grind with your fork all the meat because it's not cooked. But when you cook it as a whole, you can just take your fork and just grind
Did
the meat.
did you see the video of, well, there's many videos of Simple Living Alaska where Ariel takes that ice cream scoop and she just scoops all that meat on the carcasses and she put it aside and they freeze it as is and they do hamburger meat with it.
Nope, didn't
So
see it.
let's just say well, obviously they fish like many salmon, so the patties that they have, there's like maybe like 10, 12 package of two uh not buns but hamburger style meat, but they just put all of that in a big bowl and at the end they just make a ball, smash it and freeze it, and it
Cool,
becomes a fish burger.
cool.
If ever I fish, fishing is something I really would love to do. I used to love fishing when I was young. I would love to bring fish in the house because, like, now buying fish here, it's so expensive. Like, I think if I buy fresh salmon, our favorite fish, it would be $40 for just for the fish.
Oh yeah, even more.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, we're like for us to enjoy salmon, it has to be frozen. It's the only way we can
Yeah.
consume fish here. What did I miss? What did I miss? That's good. Change is always good. I know it's scary, but celebrate your victories, even though they're small, because next year your victories are going to be a little bit better. I remember my first big garden, my first 30 by 30 garden. Oh my God. I cried so much. Nothing worked. Nothing. Everything that could go wrong on my first year, anything you can think that goes wrong, went wrong and beyond. But I kept on going.
Uh,
So proud of your first year with. So proud of my first year with Bigger Garden. Yes, we have to celebrate every single milestone. And fish it too. My boyfriend don't think I'm strong enough for them.
it is a strong fish, a striped bass. Pretty easy to fish. It gives a good fight, but I mean, if you have the right tools, the right line on your rod, you should be all right.
Joam says, I'm not sure I said hi to you. Hi, Joam. Some people freeze fish in water to avoid freezer burn.
I do that with the smaller ones. As soon as they're big enough, I will clean them and vacuum seal them. They don't get the frostbite like that. They don't get the freezer burn. I mean,
So Chris is asking if you're pressure canning your fish.
no, not yet. I am still new to pressure canning. I started about only a month and a half ago. One of my friend gave me some mackerel that was canned. I will try it at some point, and if I like it, well, I'm gonna start doing it.
If ever I can get my hand on a big amount of fish, now that I have a 21 quart, I'm definitely going to try canning them. The small pressure canner I had is said in it that I cannot can fish, that I had to have the 21 or 23rd, 20, 20. Anyways, it's either 21 or 23 quarts. And if ever I can get my hand on a lot of fish, I would can it. Like to have that, to try it first of all, and to have that security of having different types of protein at the
Mhm.
homestead. We eat more smoked salmon, trout than anything else, so hopefully we'll manage. Where did the comment go?
Have to get something fixed. When
Okay,
it,
so I say so. Hopefully we'll manage to make a bunch of it next year because it ain't cheap. Are you guys close to the ocean?
they're close to a lot of lakes. There's probably trout around and some bass close to where they are. But they could always come for a weekend up here, and I can try to get a friend of mine to get his boat out and go for like a day to fish some striped bass, and you guys would have a blast.
We live in the city and had to borrow the neighbor's yard to. If you have to borrow the neighbor's land to make it work and they say yes, why not? More than any other way of eating fish, that is. More than any other way of eating fish, that is. What is he referring to?
Fish, probably.
The fish are in the lake waiting for you to get them. I'm going! Kaboosh! I'm leaving my house, yeah. I actually have no equipment, so it would be fun to watch. 100 minutes takes a long time, but well worth. It makes pantry more rounded. Yeah. Fish. I think it's the longest to pressure can. The longest time. In Michigan, we have lots of lakes and rivers to catch salmon and trout. Nice. Trout or are everywhere. We can drive to the salmon without having to go too far. I'll tell Lindsay you just promised to get us onto the striped bass.
I promise to
Cool.
try. I promise to try. If I can get the boat, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah, you need the boat. So now we said how the highest. What is the lowest? The item that you were less successful or has the less.
Well, there's a lot that the numbers were really low, so I don't think it would be fair to count it. I mean, I didn't get a pig, obviously, because it was
Too
too
late.
short of time, too late by the time I was able to move my stuff on Sarah's property. I'm kind of disappointed that this did not happen, but um,
Yeah, but with all the meat that you have,
yeah, I'm good. Like I can't complain on that end.
okay,
Um,
you were gonna harvest two pigs. Where would you have put them?
there
You,
wasn't gonna be two for me. It would have been one for me, but
okay, fine. One pig. Where would you have put the meat?
um,
Okay, there's like it's
for
fun to
freezer.
have. Yeah, yeah.
Um, to answer your question, really, what I'm disappointed maybe there was the maple syrup. I did not get a single pound of maple syrup because last year I went on my dad's land. I had just a bunch of cheap stuff and was able to get maybe like um, 4 or 5 liters of maple syrup. Um, if I would have had that this year, it would have been better than nothing. Thing is, I was supposed to go on my brother-in-law's property because he's gone. He's not in the province anymore. He's working in Alberta, and he's got his friend taking over his place. And I was supposed to go help them, and turns out I got sick at the same time that it was like the prime time. So I couldn't go, and with everyone being sick after another, and with the rules that were in place at the time, I could not go. And then my brother-in-law came, and he went with his friends to finish the whole thing. So I ended up with having zero, and it kind of it's a bummer because I was there helping with putting all the cans and all the bins and all that stuff. Ended up with nothing at all. So I was a little bit disappointed in that. But next year I will be doing it on my own, on my dad's land. I was disappointed a little bit with the radishes. I have nothing to show for. Maybe like 3 or 4 pounds.
I don't even have that. I sowed so many seeds in the spring and in the tunnel, and I had like these. It came up super super warm in the tunnel, and they went into seed right up like right away. I didn't. I think I ate one radish.
Yeah, that's pretty much. Well, it's not what happened here, but it looks familiar. We're kind of used to have that. I was hoping to sow some seeds late in the fall, but now we're here at the end of October and still not done, so it's not going to happen.
If I can get my compost this weekend in the tunnel, I'm going to plant, like I have like an old packet of seed. So I know the germination rate is probably going to be very low. And if I lose it, I don't mind. So I'm going to sow all of that package of seed and hope for the best. Because usually in 24 to 30 days, you can get some food. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to plant that. And next year, I think I'm going to do exactly what the package of seeds says. As soon as the soil can be worked up, plant my seeds. Maybe not in the tunnel, but like in a raised bed with maybe a row cover on top of it in case that it goes like really, really, really cold and it freezes. But I'm not going to wait at the date that they tell me on my planting chart because I never get radishes. The only year I got some is the year I defied the guidelines of planting date, and I had so much. Hello, Melissa. Here's a fun joke for you. Don't lose the key.
Yeah.
I just told her you promised to get us the limit of striped bass each.
Well, if we can get a boat, and if it's as good as it was this year, that can be done in an hour or two, and even get Kinsey's limit. We were there for about 45 minutes. We all got our limit. We had to leave.
What's the limit?
3 per person. But striped bass, I mean, I've been fishing striped bass next to the beach for the past 5 years, and I never got my possession limit once, which is also 3.
What is your limit for salmon?
We're not allowed to keep any here in New Brunswick.
Oh.
You want to know something weird? I have the Restigouche River 20 minutes from here on the New Brunswick side. I'm not allowed to fish salmon. I'm allowed to fish, not to keep it. I can get my non-resident license, go across the bridge, fish the same river, and I'll be allowed to keep one.
Just one?
Well, 1 or 2, I don't know. I don't know the rules in Quebec, but I know if I go across the bridge on the Quebec side, I can fish the exact same river, and I'm allowed to keep the salmon I fish.
So in Quebec, I have to find out if only in Quebec we're allowed like 2, 3, because there's 2, 3. It's not enough.
No, and I think that's the limit that you would have on the Quebec side as well. God. But it's per family member, right? As long as they have a license.
Okay, so let's just say it's 2. I would be able to have 10. It's not enough.
Yeah, salmon is different. You would have to get the tag for each member of the family.
I
So
know,
you
I
would
know.
have to pay like $40 per family member probably.
Might as well just buy the fish at the store with that
That's
price.
why I go for striped bass. It's free. It's in the sea,
Uh,
same size.
that's probably why I have like this fantasy of Alaska when they have like 20 something salmon they can bring back home. Huh?
Dream. It's so
Yeah,
crazy. You
dream,
watch your
dream.
videos and oh, I want to be there.
Just got, I thought, wait, Melissa says just got almost all the last pig cuts and wraps.
Nice.
That's a Remi guarantee. Pressure, pressure, pressure. Come to Michigan. Our limit is 5. Yeah, but I still have to cross it. Like if I know I would be allowed. Actually, no, I don't even. Am I allowed to travel at the moment? I think I am.
Yeah,
I
I
think I
don't
am.
think there's any
So
restriction
I
on.
would be able to go, but I have no idea how I would be able to bring them back. I don't think you're allowed to cross with dead fish in your car.
Yeah, if you have the license, I think you'd be able to. Yeah,
That would be an expensive trip to
yeah.
bring.
You
But a
don't do
fun
that to
trip.
save money.
No, no. It depends on the river. Some we can keep it, but most is catch and release. I'll need to get an answer in writing about how possessing affects your possession limits and exactly what counts as possession. Is that
Process.
for me or for you?
Both of us. He's just wondering, like, if let's say, for example, I'm allowed to keep um, 6 grouse or 3 striped bass. If I can it, does it count as processing? Because in theory, if you use your grouse in a meat pie, for example, the meat pie is in the freezer, then your grouse no longer counts as towards your limit. You can go and grab another one, or hunt another one. So the question we've been wondering is, if we can it, does it count as processing? Because it's cooked, it's preserved. Will we be allowed to go and get some more? That's the
Well,
question.
when you say that you're gonna can meat, you say you either can it or process it, or the processing time is.
Yeah, but this is what we use as homesteaders.
Yeah.
Depends on what.
Well, no, in the books, when you go on either Mr. Google Pants and you go processing time for, or you go in your book, it says process this amount, this amount, this amount. But I would ask.
Yeah, that's what we want to do. We have to ask. We have to know.
Okay, I'm confused now. Why does it says Marilyn? We got 2 buns.
Talking about the pigs.
Oh, okay. Yes, you can cross onto the USS. Okay, I'm not up to date with all the new things going on. Daily limits is different than possession limits. And then if you process it, usually doesn't count towards your possession limit anymore. So you can actually manage to pack away quite a lot.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because let's say you made a chicken, grouse broth. The rangers are not going to go if you can it and put it in your pantry. They're not going to go open all your mason jars and count how many grouse you actually have in there. That wouldn't make sense. Like that's kind of the whole idea behind it. If you have them frozen as is in your freezer, then they can go and count it. But if it's gone in another meal, then there's no way for them to know. So that's why we're wondering. Like I have some moose meat on my shelf, but in theory, legally in New Brunswick, if I harvest a moose this year, legally speaking, I have to get rid of it by June 30th of next year. So if I can it, am I still legal?
Why? Wait. Why do you have to consume your meat within a year?
I think that it is to prevent the poachers poaching. I think. I don't have any explanation. It doesn't make sense because to me, if you force people to get rid of their meat, then there's more chance that they're gonna go out and try to poach it. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't make sense to me, but I don't know.
No, that like my brain is going. The moment it's
Well,
like,
sometimes there's just stuff that can't be explained.
okay, well, how much is the a carcass weight of a moose?
It can go anywhere from 250 to 700-800 pound of meat, depending.
Okay, with carcass or without?
That would be just the meat. The carcass, the whole thing is way more than that.
Okay, so if you make an average of between 300 pounds and 500 pounds of meat, that is a lot of meat per week.
hmm That's 1 pound per day, roughly. Put it this way.
Yeah. And wow. Okay.
It is a
Um,
lot, but we've been through over
well,
400 in
okay.
the last year.
I have like when I started homesteading, when I quit my job, I had no salary. So I had many meatless meals. So now that I do 2 pound per meal sometimes, I'm still like, oh my God, that's a lot of meat. But I know it's not a lot of meat because my kids are getting older and we're 5. And I do leftovers so that the next day I can have leftovers. And I now do thermos for my kids in school. So when I do 2 pound, it's maybe a meal and then maybe 2 meals during the week for the kids. So I'm still like I'm still in the middle of like, oh my God, 2 pound is a lot. Then no, 2 pound is normal for a big family.
Yeah.
They are mixed breed. Okay, that's with the pig. I think with the licensed people from Canada and the USA come here for fishing. Hmm. That's probably why there's a lot of fishermen in Alaska during the summer.
Yeah, maybe.
Woohoo! All what you need to begin. Well, if it's male and female, okay.
Talking about the pigs again.
Okay, so the other night, Scott, right?
Yep.
Ram, okay. He got kicked out of Tracy's life.
Now, what did you do?
He wrote something in caps, but Tracy has Nightbot,
What?
and I think it kicked him out. And then we were like, Scott, are you still there? And he wasn't answering, so I think he got kicked out.
Being a bad boy, are you, Scott?
No, but he just wrote like a word in caps. Like, let's just say you guys are on your computer and you accidentally press caps and you just write, and I think that's what he did. But Nightbot like you can't write this.
No, you can't be angry because that's what it looks like.
We got 2 females for now. They are young, so we'll get male in the spring. So this is your breeding trio you're working on. We are around 50 right now.
50 rabbits?
I guess that's it. Uh, I feel like that's how many chickens we have. Okay, that's not for me. No chickens yet. But bunny math is the same. Yes, it's exactly the same. And rabbits replicate way faster than chickens, unless you have a lot of broody hens. No, sir, you are not. It's a very old year. Okay. Did I miss anything?
It might have been writing as we were talking, but I don't remember what I was saying back then.
That okay. I will never finish all my venison in the summer. That's crazy talk.
Yeah.
Scrapbot. So Scott says he's a rebel. Okay. Like the other night, Scott, were you kicked out? Were you able to come back in? Because like I was calling your name and you didn't write, so I deducted that Scrapbot kicked you out.
You might be blocked on Tracy's live.
He could. I was thinking of installing it for the thumbs up, sharing my merch line
Yeah,
in something else. But then when I saw that, I'm like, I'm not doing it. I don't want
you
to
was
have
booted
trouble
out.
in the comments. So
Yeah,
you've answered one thing. So you think you're gonna be doing Shed Wars next year.
I'm all for it. Um, I'm the kind of person that I am very competitive by nature. So if I don't win, I'll double up and give it a go again next year. And if I win, well, if my team wins, I mean, we'll have a title to defend, so I will have to go back. But
A title to defend.
I could also end up being on John's team, so you never know, right? But no, it's just that it was fun. I met some amazing people on there. The community is great. I now have like four families. Uh, my family here, the family I have in the community on Facebook, and the one I have on Shedwars, and the one I have at work. So it's
That's a lot of family to keep track.
yeah. But yeah, no, it was fun. Like I mean, of course, I'm exhausted. It was a long, long summer. Um, but by switching a few things, getting rid of a few animals and doing things differently, it's always about learning, right? So I learned what worked, what didn't, and I know what to do next year to make sure that I don't crash again.
That was my next question. Is there anything that you're gonna like step away from, or things that you want to do more?
Um, I would love just for the purpose of showing as much as I can. I would love to be able to do something different. That means that maybe instead of going fishing for like 3 weeks in the spring, maybe I would go and set up a stand somewhere and try to get a black bear. Sorry, instead of getting maybe like 5 pounds of fish in the first 3 weeks, maybe I'd be able to get 100 pound of meat. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
a few tiny details like that, and then I had a bunch of chickens that I was hoping to keep, like the roosters and the hens, and try to get them to reproduce and eat the roosters and keep the hens for layers. And no, that's just it costs too much. It's too much time consuming. I'm gonna reduce my chicken flock by a lot, and all I'm gonna have is 8 9 weeks of intense feeding with the chickens, meat chickens, and turkeys, and give it a go like that. Maybe have a few more meat chickens. As Sal was talking about the fact that he would love to get in on it next year. It went so well on the meat chickens. Just too bad that I did not have more than 22 in the end. Um, but
So does
yeah,
that mean you still have your spot next year?
oh yeah, my barn is there. Sal's is just happy that I have my stuff there. I know he's not saying a thing, and if he's watching or listening, he's gonna agree with me. I know deep inside he was kind of not happy with the fact that I was not there enough. He ended up doing most of the crappy work, cleaning and all that stuff, and I am so thankful that he did that. I did not have time to get to that, and that's why I had to come to the conclusion that it was time for me to slow down a little bit. I was trying to do too much, and yeah, that's what I
Does
have to
that
do.
mean your birds, or you have no more birds at the new location?
I have nothing there yet. No, at this moment. No, I
So
sold a lot of
this
my
winter you're just keeping your hens at your house.
yep,
So then
and
you
I'll have my rabbits.
and you lost your rooster.
Yeah,
Oh no. The one that you got at what's his name?
from
Hickory
Crit.
Croft?
Yeah, I had to because I wasn't allowed to bring it home,
Oh,
and I
obviously.
tried to find a place. I tried to find a way. Selge had a chicken coop at his place. Well, the thing is, he owned two lands, two different properties, with a house on the two properties, and I don't know. He was hoping to have one of his kid maybe at some point move into the next house or whatever, but it didn't work out that way, and he ended up selling the house. and it was trying to bring the barn on his property to put the chickens in. And I don't know if it was too hard to do, the job was not doable, so we just ended up telling the guy like, keep it, do whatever you want with it, and he's not going to worry about it. And I could have found another way to do it. Marilyn kept asking me to ask a friend of mine to keep them in for the winter. Um, like I told her, if I'm home, not that it's something that I like doing, but right now, like, I'm out of rabbit feed right now. I'll give them hay and go tomorrow morning, get the feed, and they'll have their feed, for the day. If someone else is taking care of my animals, then they might tell me, look, you need to bring me feed. Like now, I'm almost at the end, and then I have to go. Maybe I won't have the money to that point. I will have to go get the feed, bring it there, send the money or whatever. And I don't want to have that extra pressure
Yeah, the
on me
responsibility.
and someone else have the pressure of feeding my animals. So I'll do what I can. If I can't feed them, like the rabbits, if I just and like get to the point where I can feed them, I'll put them in the freezer and they won't suffer. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
I won't get someone to make that decision for me.
I'm actually, I got a request from someone to take two ducks for the winter. And I told her, no problem, but I'm going to charge you per week. And I will put them with my ducks, tag them, and you can come get them in the spring. And she's like, oh, okay. So I'll find out by the end of this week if I have two more ducks, one male, one female. They're actually I had them this summer. She was moving and she asked me if I can, like, it was supposed to be a week or two, and then he ended up being 4. And they're gone. And now she has to move again. And she's like, I have no one to keep. Like, no one usually takes care of animals, especially small animals. If it was a horse, you can just put them in a, I don't know how you call that in English, but like a home that's specialized for that. But ducks and chickens, it's tricky because you never know what you're gonna get, and you don't know how the person actually takes care of her animals. Like, not me, but the other person, that like how she actually, is she very cautious, is she not? I know she is, because the male that she's bringing me was once mine. So I know, and her female, I had her this summer and she had no issues, and she was in quarantine for about, uh, she was in quarantine practically all the time she was here, and I had no issues with her. So I know that doing it again is not an issue, but it's always like what type of things you're bringing in. Your coop is always something delicate, but yeah, no, no. This lady treats her female as a child. So there's a point in her life she had, before I sold her the male, the Cayuga male. She would follow her everywhere, everywhere. Like, that duck is like, she's exactly like ketchup for your daughter. Like, she would follow. Her name's
Real pet.
Squeaky. Squeaky would follow her everywhere. She's adorable. She's like a pet. The My male is a little bit more savage because she didn't raise him as he was a duckling, but together they're like so easy to take care of. They're like, they're actually easier than some of my ducks, so I don't mind. But no, my male is a pure breed Cayuga, so he's worth a lot of money. So I don't think she would put them in the freezer. Okay, so you were booted out, Scott. I'm so sorry. I hope you're not booted out of Tracy's account. No, I don't think I will be installing anything anytime soon. I'm just gonna ask moderators to do it for me.
Yeah, Marie-Lane's there. She's doing a great job.
Yes, yes. I always get weirdos on my lives. I did get one asking me to show my toes to the cameras, and then the one with the dog, pet my dog, and la la la. Yeah, it was funny, but yeah. And my Christmas gift better not be late. I guess this is for you. Sorry. Sorry.
Okay.
She could probably. No, I can't read that. Like Lindsay Geese, I suppose. Yes. Except we're eating most of the geese. Oh, you better charge for that. Well, that's why. I don't know what would be the ideal price because they would be in the pen with my other ducks, so the amount of work will not differ because like two more mouths to feed. I just feel I
Yeah.
just feel my husband bought like this stainless steel galvanized big thing, so it would just be the feed to like per week. I have to figure out how much a cayuga eats in weight, and then just that's probably what I'll charge her. We are not eating 3 pet geese. Yeah. Uh, yeah, feet pics. Like, yeah, I'm gonna show you my feet for sure. Okay, so
$2,000, and I'll show you the pictures of my feet. Yeah.
no, no, no. I don't think I'll start doing that because then what's gonna be after? They're gonna ask for more. My last question for you. I had to leave the live. You talked about your numbers. I was so exhausted. Would you mind telling us your final numbers?
1656. 1,656 pounds.
Wow. So
And
almost
a week later, not even a week later, 4 days later, and I have already 55 pounds for next year.
so you would have made it to 1,700.
Yeah, I could have. Was just too tired. It was like I still have about 50 pounds of carrots in my garden right now that I have to go and harvest. I didn't go grouse hunting as much as I would like. My son keeps bugging me, wants to go. I didn't go black bear hunting. I still have a few rabbits to put in the freezer before the winter comes. They're ready now. It's just a matter of me going and doing it. I could have probably made it to 1,800, but I mean,
Gotta love Jack. Includes 900 pound of squash. 900 pound of squash. You could feed and in probably your entire village for the entire winter with 900 pounds
yeah,
of squash. Yes, Dave. The feet. The feet. It's not going to be in squash we trust. It's going to be in feet we trust. So I remember at the beginning of the year, you told me that you would never reach 1,000 pounds. And then when you were close to 1,000 pounds, I told you you're gonna get there. And you're like, no, I'm not, no, I'm not, no, I'm not. And then you got to 1,000 pounds. And then I challenged you to reach 1,500. And you're like, no, I'm never gonna get there. And then you reached 1,500. And I told you you're gonna get close to 2,000 pounds. And you told me, no, I won't.
it was well, the 2000 was not possible at the time because
No.
I knew what I had left to harvest,
Yeah.
and I knew that there was no way I was getting 300 pounds.
No, but
Um,
also in the state of mind you were completely drained and exhausted. It would have been
yeah, uh,
unrealistic for you to go and find 300 pounds of food. Yes, Lindsay, members only. Exclusivity to my feet. Oh my god.
the
So
thing is, the amount of weight goes up quite fast. When you start thinking about if you have 7 eggs, it's a pound, roughly, give or take. Some are smaller, some are bigger. Sometimes 5 eggs are a pound, sometimes it takes 10. But on average, it's about 7 eggs per pound. With a 20 25 hens I had, well, some of the eggs were put in the incubator, so I did not count them. Um, but with 20 chickens, the 7 eggs per day was pretty easy. So it was more than a pound of egg per day.
That's nice.
That thing lasted for about 220 days, I think. So I did not have in mind that I was going to get over 200 pound of eggs at the time at the beginning of the year, and now I realize that it's pretty easy to get. I was hoping to get 100 pound of carrots. I have way more than that now. I struggled, but I still managed to get my 100 pound of apples. Those are tiny things that I knew was going to get me far. But you always have in mind that maybe one of those things will not work out. I didn't think that I was going to be able to go moose hunting because we had 2 tags last year, and there's only 4 of us applying. And this year there was Jack. Um, I was lucky that Sarah invited me over. I never thought that I was going to get 100 pound of striped bass because I was never able to get more than 2 per year in the past years. Um, Things went very very well, and some things went very bad. So you know that some things will go bad and some will do better, but
Of course, you never have 100% success. But
mhm.
now that you know everything you know now, next year it's going to be 2,000 pounds for you.
uh, maybe at 1,500 because I know that that's what I can do.
Yes, yes. I'm just teasing. I'm teasing.
2,000 is doable.
Okay. Before I let you guys go, I'm just going to read the comments. Guys, come on, let go of the feet. Okay, so Marilyn says, you make me work Ren's Homestead, always asking if it shows what you just wrote. You'll have to switch your channel content to winemaking, grape stumping, raising God, to take advantage of the. Keep those pics behind paywalls, of course. Did you have to remove comments, Marilyn? Oh, I did forget. Whoever's here and still here, don't forget the thumbs up. Is Joam still here? I know he did.
Shedwars. I don't know
He
if
did
he.
Shedwars. If you're
I don't know
still here and you're comfortable in sharing your pound, your end result. I'm seeing 11 people here, so maybe he's still here. If you're open to share your pound result with us, it would be fun before I let you guys go.
He's been the first pick in the past 3 years. He's probably way up there now. He's probably
He,
close to 2,000.
well, we'll see. We'll see. I know that there's a little bit of delay in the live, so I'm giving about a minute. No, not remove. Show them. Okay. 11 people waiting for the grape stuff. Oh God. Okay.
Left by now.
I never thought that talking about my feet would have been such a hot subject.
Topic of the day.
Yeah. So next summer, usually I wear my flip flops when I go gardening. So now I won't.
Rubber boots.
Oh God, rubber boots. No. At this moment, I am so sad. I have to wear socks like all the time because it's
Cold.
cold. And as soon as I can remove my socks, I'm like, ah. So winter is a very hard season for me because I have to keep my socks on all winter. And then as soon as I can remove the socks, like my toes are free and I go outside walking in the dirt. Now you're just ruining it for me. Like I'm gonna have like all these twisted ideas of my toes and my feet. So I guess Joam is not here, or he does not want to share. He wants the live to be revealed, but I haven't seen him in a while in the comments.
Yeah, could be gone by now.
Last call, Joam, are you still here? Oh, there's a new comment. Oh God. Oh, you're killing me, guys. Dave. Your members hate it too. Hashtag feet the toes. No, free the toes. Yes, free the toes.
It's gonna be the new joke in the chat.
Yeah, yeah. Annie, where's your feet? Okay, so tomorrow's Halloween, so I'm gonna put my kids to bed like on the dot because they're probably gonna be up tomorrow at like 5, maybe 5:30, because they're allowed to wear their costume at school.
Ooh, awesome.
So it's gonna be an interesting morning. So tomorrow morning, if you can send me caffeine, it would be widely appreciated, like caffeine vibes, because I have 3 very excited kids. They've been talking about Halloween for the entire weekend.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris. So tomorrow, is anyone celebrating Halloween, passing Halloween, getting their ass cold for Halloween? Oh, I said a bad word. Their bum cold
It's
for
probably gonna
Halloween.
rain here. It always does.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
probably
remember the last time we had nice weather for Halloween.
last year it was okay for us. The year before it was pouring, like
It's
real
usually
pouring
raining.
rain. And my son was like, "Mom, I want candies." I'm like, Philip, it's like raining cats and dogs right now. He's like, "I don't care. I want candies." So my husband went back home with my eldest and my youngest, and I was outside for an hour getting everything wet. Like everything you can possibly think was wet was wet. And my son's costume, when I like, took it in the shower and started like dripping it, like it took like an entire 24 hours for it to dry. Staying home and keep all the goodies because no one come here. Much chocolate for Marilyn.
The fun thing is when you go the next day, you go in the grocery stores to get everything
Yes,
price.
that's what I do.
Because the
I
kids don't
go
want to share with me.
usually on Tuesday. Well, I'm gonna have no. I took the pedagogic for school. So Tuesday, I'm going to go at Walmart and I'm going to go buy a box for myself, 50% off. And I'm going to hide it. It's going to be my secret stash. So you guys, thanks for popping in. It was a great live. I'm so happy that you were able to have all that for your family this year. I know you were worried with all the increase in price and all the situations. So I think you're going to be in a better place food-wise this winter. Oh, uh-oh. Uh-oh. As soon as they see the duck, I'm like, uh-oh. I'm going to be tempted to go buy a bunch of Halloween candy tomorrow. Whatever isn't taken by the trick-or-treaters, I get to eat. And we have 900 feet of driveways. Well, you can actually sit on the side of the road and scare the kids and have fun.
Yeah, you can go scare the kids, Jack. Good idea. I mean,
Oh God, if you do that, Jack, please take pictures. I picture Jack on a chair, just terrifying the poor kid.
oh, Lindsay will have a camera somewhere.
It would be so funny to watch and good short quality videos.
The only thing, Jack, pretend to be 12, but you're tall.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. There's kids that are tall. There's kids that are tall at 12.
6'5".
Okay, no, he's 6'5".
6'4", yeah.
Okay, so you're over 6 feet. You're gonna have to stay down because if you want to pass for 12, you're gonna have to sit down or be on your knees.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm hearing the kids now. It is prime time here. It's 7:30. It's like 7:30 just hit. Oh, I'm guessing this is Lindsay. Yeah. She's 5'4". I'm 5'4" too. Well, actually, no, 5'4" and 3/4. I was just missing a kick in the butt to be 5'5". Oh, he's 6'4".
Tall guy.
Tall guy. So you guys, thanks for passing by. I hope you guys have a fun week. Tomorrow, lots of candies and not so bad of a sugar rush on Tuesday morning. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Take care.
Bye, Remi.
Bye.